I'd like to call the December 17, 2013 Papillion City Council meeting to order. Mrs. Butler, would you please take the roll?
Florence. Mumgaard. Gaines. Glover. Jaworski. Klug. Stubbe. Engberg.
Mr. Glover did say he was traveling, and so he's excused. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. And do we have an affidavit of publication on file?
That is correct.
And a current copy of the Open Meeting Act is posted in the back of the council chambers. We've got several presentations. Ms. Hanson, you want to join me at the podium? I never know which way to stand, that way or this way. We've got a race series in Papillion, and it's an important event, just not from a recreation perspective, but it brings people into town, it brings people in from out of state, so it's got a quality of life aspect, it's got a recreation aspect, it's got a tourism aspect. We had over 2,000 participants this year, and about 10% of those came from outside Nebraska, and they came from about 23 different states, and we do follow up with them, and we know a lot of them come here just for that. And then the ones in Nebraska probably came from, you have an idea how many cities they might have come from across Nebraska? About 45 cities, and they do travel in for that as well. We have a half marathon, a duathlon, a triathlon, and an extreme 5K. And we have a point series throughout the year based on how people did in each of the events and then how many of the events they participated in. And at the end of this series, we declare an overall 2013 champion. So we want to recognize that tonight. For the youth and the young adult age group 10 and under, Gus Kriegler. Is Gus with us? Gus, come on up. Parents, if you want to take pictures too, feel free to come up. Gus completed 2 of the 4 races, and that was the 10K and the Extreme 5K, and in the Extreme 5K was second place in his division. Congratulations. In the youth young adult age group 11 to 14, Trevor Thomas of Papillion. Trevor was 3 of the 4 races, and in the half marathon he was 3rd place, duathlon 3rd place, the extreme 5K 3rd place in his age division. Congratulations. And remember, we talked about 2,000 participants, and the first 2 were from Papillion, so that's a great thing. Third one is too. Youth young adult age group 15 to 19, Griffin Delaney. Griffin completed 2 of the 4 races. The 10K was 1st place in his age division, and the Extreme 5K 3rd place in his age division. Congratulations. Adult male, we'll keep the pattern going. Peter Ward of Papillion. Peter completed all 4 races, half marathon 3rd place, duathlon 3rd place, competed in the triathlon and the extreme 5K. Thank you. And female, Sarah Fredrickson. Sarah's of Omaha. She completed all 4 races in the 10K 1st place, duathlon 1st place, triathlon 1st place, and the extreme 5K 1st place. We couldn't put on the series without great support from a lot of business partners. We got great businesses that give back to us and really help out, and I want to make sure we mention them because they are great partners. Allegiant Health Midlands Hospital, Bridge Chiropractic and Wellness Center, Builder's Supply, Coca-Cola, Edge Physical Therapy, GNC at Shadow Lake, Hy-Vee at Shadow Lake, ING, Papillion Chiropractic, Pinnacle Bank, RDG Planning and Design, Revive Massage and Spa, TD2 Engineering and Surveying, the Lerner Company, Trek Bike, and Urgent Care of Papillion. And then in addition to those businesses giving money, we had over 200 community volunteers and then a lot of staff giving their time, and we get a lot of feedback of how it's probably one of the higher quality events in the region. So Tim, thank you for all you do. Lori, thank you for what you do. Congratulations again. Next on the agenda is Administrator's Report. Mr. Hoynes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Just a couple brief things this evening. We did finalize and send to print this week the 2013 version of the annual report to the citizens from the City of Papillion. I'll advance copy you that here in the next week or so. It's scheduled to land in the mailboxes of your constituents sometime between Christmas and New Year's, as we've done the last 4 years. Also, Mr. Mayor and Council, we've met 2 different times with the elected officials from Sarpy and Douglas County on the 911 regionalization effort. There's another meeting scheduled after the first of the year, and progress is being made. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Councilwoman Klug. Second by Councilman Gaines. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item E1, Ordinance 1677, an ordinance to amend the annual budget statement to be termed the annual appropriation bill, which was adopted on September 3rd, 2013 by Ordinance 1672, to appropriate sums for necessary expenses and liabilities and to provide for effective date. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any proponents? Do you have any opponents? I'll close the public hearing. Next is item E2. I am going to ask that we have a motion to move this on the agenda and defer it until after item F7. They are related items, and there is one. What's that? We don't need a motion for that? We're just going to defer it until after F7. So next is item F1, Ordinance 1675, an ordinance to amend in its entirety Chapter 117, Fireworks of the Papillion Municipal Code, having to do with fireworks, the general provisions in licensing and sales of fireworks, and to provide for an effective date. Do you have a motion to approve Ordinance 1675? Motion by Councilman Jaworski. Second by Councilman Mumgaard. Any council discussion? Please vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is F2, Resolution R13-0213, a resolution to approve the following 2014 trash hauling applications. So one vote will take them all. 1 is Abe's Trash Service, Inc., 2 is Dale's Trash Service, Inc., 3 is Deffenbaugh Industries, 4 is Gretna Sanitation, 5 Metro Disposal and Recycling, 6 Premier Waste Solutions, 7 Waste Connections of Nebraska, Inc., doing business as Papillion Sanitation, 8 is Waste Management of Nebraska, 9 is Waste Services Nebraska, LLC. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0213? Motion by Councilman Engberg. Second by Councilman Jaworski. Do we have any proponents? I believe all the applicants are here if there's any questions except for Abe's Trash, and they attempted to get here, but they've got a conflict. Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next is F3, Ordinance 1674. An ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Papillion, adopted by Ordinance Number 1606 by changing boundaries of the zoning map of the City of Papillion in accordance with Section 205-32 of Papillion City Code to rezone certain real property within the zoning jurisdiction of the City of Papillion, Sarpy County, Nebraska, legally described as Tax Lot 18 in the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 25, Township 14 North, Range 12 east of the 6 p.m., Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located at 11050 South 66th Street, from Agricultural AG to Community Commercial CC. Do we have a motion to approve Ordinance 1674? Motion by Councilman Jaworski. Second by Councilman Florence. Any council discussion? Mr. Engberg.
Thank you, Mayor. Although I'm going to support this and vote for it, I thought it was appropriate to make a comment because the site plan is included in this particular item on the agenda. As we work through this process, I would certainly hope that the church will consider adjusting the site plan from what it is right now. We have spent a great deal of time with developing a certain criteria as far as building to keep up appearances and those kinds of issues. And I would encourage them to perhaps consider, Council Member Klug mentioned this in the previous meeting, perhaps consider moving the parking around to the other side of the building so we have the building closer to the proposed street. Although it may not be something that we have an overlay for at that particular location. I certainly want them to build there, and I welcome them to the community, but I hope they'll consider maybe flipping that as they go through the rest of the process with the site plan.
Do you have that noted, Mr. Sturzma? Okay, thank you very much. Any other council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Item F4, Resolution R13-0209. A resolution to approve a final plat for the property legally described as a replatting of Tax Lot 15A and Tax Lot 18 and part of Tax Lot A, lying within the southwest quarter of Section 25, together with part of Tax Lot 20 and part of Tax Lot F, lying within the northeast quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 36, Township 14 North, Range 12 east of the 6th p.m., Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located at 11050 South 66th Street. The applicant is Southridge Church of Assemblies of God, Inc., Southridge Valley. Do you have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0209? Motion by Councilwoman Klug. Second by Councilman Jaworski. Any proponents? Any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item F5, Resolution R13-0210, a resolution to approve the Southridge Valley Subdivision Agreement. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0210? Motion by Councilman Engberg. Second by Councilwoman Klug. Do we have any proponents? Any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next item F6, Resolution R13-0211. A resolution to approve a sewer and water connection agreement for Southridge Church of the Assemblies of God, Inc., Southridge Village, Southridge Valley. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0211? Motion by Councilwoman Klug. Second by Councilman Jaworski. Proponents? Any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next is item F7, Resolution R13-0204. This is a public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve a... You need this one first or the other one first? Do the other one first? Okay. The one we had deferred, we're going to pick up now. Get my order right. Item E2, Ordinance 1680. An ordinance to approve the change of zone of certain real property within the zoning jurisdiction of the City of Papillion, Sarpy County, Nebraska, legally described as part of the south half of the southwest quarter of Section 22, Township 14 North, Range 12 East, Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located on the southeast corner of 96th Street and West 6th Street from agricultural AG to mixed-use MU, and to amend the official zoning map of the City of Papillion by changing the zoning district boundaries of the zoning map in accordance with Section 205-32 of the Papillion Municipal Code, and to provide for an effective date. We'll open the public hearing. Proponents.
Hello. As fast as things are going, I should just let this thing go. Don Bellino, 819 Cedardale Road, Papillion. The place with the glow. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Just kidding. Anyways, I just wanted, a lot of you have already heard most of this, and we've met with staff and council people, and I just want to kind of just give you a once-over of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and if anybody has any questions, I have the young professionals and the paid people behind me that probably have the right answer. Anyways, I just want to give you an overview of what we're doing, and once again, the mayor and council and city staff, thanks for having us. Thanks for bringing this to a vote. And like I said, we've met with most all of you. I do want to just make mention that I'm kind of on a different slide in my life, and in the meantime, I'm going to have maybe our legal people and our engineers and architects and some of our young staff will probably be handling most of this from here on out, so I'm going to bore you with my winded speech once, and maybe that's all you're going to have to hear. So anyway, I just want to give you a once-over. Like I said, we bought this property about 15 years ago, previously in the Schwer family farm for generations. Sold half of the 60-acre plot to the county, which is now part of the county juvenile facilities, and we picked up the other 30 acres. A great portion of this property for the longest time was in a flood area, low-lying, very, very low tax base, very low farm ground, but it was laying in the kind of the flood zone. Back when we first purchased this property, things were a little different, and most of you already know all this, but we levied the creek through that area and did a service to the NRD, and for the right of levying that creek, we took all that dirt that we removed and with the channeling of the creek through there and put it on our property. At that point, we raised it, I don't know, I guess probably 5-6 feet. If you kind of go in our area, you can see how we're higher than the rest of those areas around there. It was about 600,000 yards of dirt and several $100,000, but at that point in time, it gives us the opportunity to do what we're doing today. And we kind of feel that we're taking a piece of property that at one time was kind of just low-lying farm ground, and we're going to turn it into a revenue-producing opportunity for us and also the city as far as a tax base. We've been working on this project for about 2 years now with the city, and like I said, we're glad we're here tonight. In November 2012, most of you are probably aware of this, we had a unanimous approval from the Papillion Planning Commission without any opposition. We anticipate, if things go well, that we can have some kind of a start in September of 2014. I said that wrong, spring of 2014, hopefully getting things in by fall. When it's all completed and built out, I think this is the best news of the night. Between the school districts, and I understand you're the city, you're not the schools, but what makes Papillion so great is our schools and city. There's probably going to be about $600,000 worth of tax created between the schools and the city after we're finished. Just a quick overview on the very, very corner, as you can see in some of these plans, on the exact corner of 96th and 6th Street, Cornhusker, we're going to have a commercial development. Have a couple nice restaurants interested right now. We'll kind of do a strip with some restaurants and different small businesses, and that would take up the corner of 96 and Cornhusker. As we move east, we're going to have upscale apartments. They're going to be very, very nice. We're going to have about 75% garages per unit. A lot of them will be right inside the building, underneath the building, and people from the units can actually just park inside the building, and then we'll have some detached. But the total of those two represent about 75% of attached and detached garages. And here's one more thing. As most of you know, this is all being done with private funding. There'll be no SID here, so when the city chooses to annex, at that point in time, there'll be no general obligation debt to be taken on by the city, and there'll be really no, just be, I guess, kind of income without absorbing any general obligation debt. Last and not least, we're going to put about $6 million worth of infrastructure inside there between the roads and sewer and water, and all of that will be turned over to the city once you choose to annex it. And we're glad we're here tonight, and we just appreciate a positive vote if you can do that.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Do we have any other, oh, Mr. Mumgaard?
Mr. Bellino?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I'm a little bit confused about the phasing. You've identified here phase one would be the buildings and clubhouse, and then the commercial doesn't have a phase. When does the commercial go in?
You know, that's a great question. You know, our plan is to begin with the 4 buildings that are on the furthest westerly portion next to the commercial. And at that point, we're going to do the clubhouse, which shows the amenities. We're going to do the units in there. And then the commercial is really going to be kind of done as the need becomes there. I mean, I think right now things are really starting to pop again. Things are starting to come back. We have some interest, but the commercial will be done kind of when we have some kind of a lease up or have somebody that's, you know, committed to going in there.
Okay, so what I would expect to see then is the clubhouse being built first, and then four apartment buildings, and the commercial may wait until the whole phasing is done.
That could be possible, just depending on the need.
Okay. Well, I personally like the commercial better than
Me
the
too.
apartments. So,
You find me a tenant?
yeah, so that disappoints me that it's not going in.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, I guess Stubbe might be a little sharper than me. I'm not. We're gonna try to get that thing done, but I'm not gonna put up a bunch of spec stuff, you know. But we like the corner. I've had that a long time. I think there's a lot of demand there. Clatterbuck's stuff up the street on 96 and Giles seems to do just fine. So I think it's sooner than later, but I wouldn't, you know, say something that I'm not going to do. But I don't think we're going to have any problem doing that.
Well, I'm certainly not looking for a commitment here. I'll just tell you that.
All right.
I think that's an excellent corner for the commercial that you're talking about, and I'm eager to see that happen. I hope the economics make it happen very soon.
We just love the corner because all 4 of the other corners, and you know, between OPPD being in there and then Sarpy County and the other corners, so we're really kind of the only corner for commercial development there. And I mean, we love commercial. We've had it our entire life in Papillion, and I just soon do it first if we can. But once we kind of get through this planning thing, we can start shaking the trees and see what, you know, falls out.
I hope it comes along very quickly.
Yeah, and Dobbs stuff's doing very good at 84th and 370, as most of us know. I mean, so Papillion's the place to be, and things are going. So
Well,
we'd like to do it.
Yeah, the county spent a lot of money on 96th Street, and it's getting to be busier and busier all the time. So I would hope that corner will be attractive to somebody.
Thanks.
Thank you. Do you have any other proponents? Do we have any opponents? Close the public hearing. Next is item F7, Resolution R13-0204, a public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve a preliminary plat for the property legally described as part of the south half of the southwest quarter of Section 22, Township 14 North, Range 12 East, Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located on the southeast corner of 96th Street and West 6th Street. The applicant is Bellino Properties, LLC, Bellino 96. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Close the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0204? Motion by Councilman Florence. Second by Councilman Engberg. Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item F8, Resolution R13-0205, public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve a comprehensive plan amendment to change the future land use designation from mixed use 2, commercial industrial, to mixed use 1, high density residential office and limited commercial, for the property legally described as part of the south half of the southwest quarter of Section 22, Township 14 North, Range 12 East, Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located on the southeast corner of 96th Street and West 6th Street. The applicant is Bellino Properties, LLC, Bellino 96. Public hearing. Is there any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Close the public hearing. Do you have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0205? Motion by Councilman Stubbe. Second by Councilwoman Klug. Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is committee reports, and I don't believe any met. Do we have any comments from the floor? No comments from the floor. Do we have any council comments? Just a few updates from the last couple of weeks. Mr. Hoynes, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Lemon, and I met to discuss Sarpy County Regional Wastewater, what's going to happen on the other side of the ridge line as we look forward for future development. Also attended a Sarpy County Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs meeting. Had a good turnout of folks at the Egg and I ribbon cutting, and I know they were very pleased, especially with the cold weather we had. DARE graduations are coming about. Chief Halous and I have been to Hickory Hill and Carriage Hill for DARE graduations. And Mr. Hoynes and I have also had a couple of meetings with the United Cities of Sarpy County. Probably no major updates at this time, but again, as we start thinking about the legislative session coming up in January, it's a short session, so probably not a lot's going to happen. But if you've got things that you specifically want to have on our radar legislatively, be letting us know sooner than later. Also had a couple of good ribbon cuttings with eye specialists and fixations up on 72nd and Cornhusker there by Dunkin' Donuts, and that was an expansion of a business. Also met with Ann Ames and Jesse Osteich from the Papillion Community Foundation about a potential project that could last a few years. And Mr. Hoynes and I also attended an open house, kind of a reception at Dingman's Collision Center. He's doing some unique things with that building, and it's a major investment. He really wants to be a part of the community downtown, so that's nice to see. And then Mr. Hoynes and I have also attended a 911 regionalization meeting. The last meetings have been more around legal structure and finance. Ms. Meyer's been doing a lot of work on that area, and those meetings continue, and I think there's a good tone to those meetings. Probably have a better update early mid-January, but hopeful on some things there. Also want to thank the Personnel Committee for Christmas time. They did an Adopt a Family, and then the Fire Department as well did an annual toy drive for the Burn Center. So that's nice to see. Mr. Hoynes mentioned the 2013 annual report that's going to be going out. That'll be our fourth annual one. So if you have any questions when that goes out, make sure we let us know about that. Also, we've got another new business that's going to be open downtown Papillion in the old hardware store, and it's a Papillion resident that's opening. It's called the Twisted Vine, and they're kind of wine, art, boutique type things. And I think the indication was early February they'll be open. And they specifically mentioned to me some of the reasons they're coming down here is the Downtown Business Association, the Downtown Building Guidelines, and the plaza and a lot of the events going on down there. So a lot of energy down there, and I think we're going to see some other small businesses open down there as well. Also want to give, we had two people on our Mayor's Youth Council in prior years, Christina and Sarah Worsfold. Christina was 23 years old, graduated Northwest Missouri State. She passed away late last week, so I want to give condolences to her parents, Gary and Sue, on her passing. Gave a lot of contributions to the Mayor's Youth Council, so if you know them, pass on your condolences. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Florence? What's that? No. Second by Councilman Gaines. Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
We are adjourned. Merry Christmas and have a safe New Year.